You know what? Hey, everybody, we're recruiting animal here on Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. Third time I'm starting the show because these guys wrecked it already. Okay. I wanted to do a little ad for my friend.
Mike gave a great shout out. You can't clip that.
Honeit.com, HONEIT.com. This guy, Nick Livingston, is the CEO, right? And he can't do a good ad. He used to, but somehow he's lost his mojo. And this guy, Mike Rasmussen, is a user. He's a return guest, but they're both return guests to the Recruiting Animal Show. But Mike actually uses it, okay? And what it is, it's an online interview platform. You get online, you talk to your candidate online, you can create little clips of the key questions. So you can send either the whole interview encrypted to anybody on the hiring team or these answers to the key questions. I consider that to be the biggest virtue. And I know Nick used to as well, but I don't want to give him a chance to disagree with me right now. Anyway, that's honeit.com. Check it out. HONEIT.com. The guest today, we haven't had a real guest for a long time, is Mike Rasmussen. He is now with a different company. He was with ADP for like a zillion years. And now he's with an RPO. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could say that. I was putting it. Sure.
So are you currently embedded in any company now?
Yeah, I'm working with several. I've got one called Geiger, one called Casella Construction.
Okay. But now, since you're supposedly expanding the market out west, are you just serving customers in Utah or actually doing business development for the company in Utah?
Right now, I'm doing business development.
Okay. Mike Rasmussen. So now I want to hear, how are you doing business development? What's your technique?
Oh gosh, I'm using different avenues. So let me try to give you the big one. So we go to job fairs. We say hello to some of the participants at job fairs. That's one way we're doing biz dev. We also got trying to get out and do presentations to professional associations where appropriate.
Okay, let me interrupt you. I didn't give your website. What's your URL, your domain name?
www.sourceandrecruit.com.
Okay,
really original, huh?
Well, it's probably that you don't need original. That's the
it's
good
awesome.
one.
It's a good one.
It is. Yeah.
I love it.
And this is that Tom? Yeah,
it is Tom.
Tom has had some fantastic comments on the Facebook groups lately. Okay, I've been very impressed. He looks like he took a beating today before he came on the show, or just a shower or something without drying his hair. I don't know. But Tom, what's your website? Maybe he went to the gym.
What's your website? Just having it's prsearchinc.com. prsearchinc.com.
Okay. So we're trying to figure out how Mike, who's never done business development before, he's been a corporate recruiter, is now doing business development. So he says he goes to a job fair. What do? You walk up to someone at a booth and say, "Hi, I'm Mike. Can you tell me about your company? I'm with an RPO and we might want to do business with you." What do you do exactly? Nothing high level. The actual words that come out of your mouth.
Actually, you walk up and you say, "Hey, so you're hiring today. How's your business doing?" You ask them about their business, get to know them a little bit. You just treat them like human beings. They have a need to fill in. I say, "Hey, I've been in your shoes. I've been overwhelmed with a desk of 60 openings before. I understand how it feels." So you try to be genuine, and then that actually goes over fairly well, Mr. Animal.
Okay, but I'm going to quote Tom. He said today that he never takes no for an answer. He won't let anybody off the phone until they hang up on him. Okay. And he says he's a Finkel acolyte, Steve Finkel. Hi, Ernie. And he says that if you're asking for business, there's only a few answers that they can give you, right? So you have to know all the rebuttals for those answers, and you hammer them with those until they say yes or say, "Look, Mike Rasmussen, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you anymore. There's other people at the fair." So what should Mike do, Tom? Do you want to advise him
I've been to a bunch of, not job fairs, so to speak, but I do go to my clients' trade shows, walk around, meet new clients that way. And that's a different way of doing things. That the
Yeah, for sure.
mad or glad thing that I do on the phone, I don't do face to face, right? That's a totally different situation. When I talk about what I don't take no for an answer, it's also kind of rolls into that mad or glad, that when you're talking to someone on the phone, and I don't care if it's a candidate or if it's a client, when they hang up the phone, you want them to either be mad or glad that they talked to you. You don't want them to be mad, because every other recruiter leaves them mad, right? So you want them, most of the time, you want them to be glad, but there are some people that, hey, we don't pay fees. You don't pay fees? That's awesome. They're like, what? I go, yeah, I need sources. I need people to recruit from. If you're not going to pay fees, I know where I can get candidates from. Have a nice day, click. That motherfucker's going to remember me. Excuse my French. So what you need to do is, when you're getting into that conversation on the phone and I say, I don't take no for an answer, is that I'm going to dig into and develop a relationship, or develop the guy to hate me when I'm on the phone with him trying to develop business. If you don't make yourself known and they don't remember you, then you're like every other recruiter that calls
I'm confused. I know there's like 3 other witnesses here. Did he say they're either mad or glad, and he doesn't want them to be mad, or that he wants them to be mad?
He doesn't want them to be meh. He doesn't want to be meh. He doesn't want to be that either.
Oh, meh. Oh, okay.
Like every other recruiter, they're meh. What's the word? Like, hey, do you have any openings? No, we don't. Okay, how about we connect on LinkedIn and I'll call you in 6 months? Okay, sounds good. Click. And then when you kind of call the guy in 6 months, he's like, who are you again? When I call someone and I hear, who are you again? I know I failed. If I call someone back and they say, who are you again? I failed as a recruiter. I failed.
Animal, can we talk about, this came up last week, and it came about, like, how do you differentiate yourself from every other recruiter? Tom, to your point, like, every recruiter is doing the same thing for candidate marketing, business development. How do you stand out? Can I show you one thing how recruiters are doing that? Animal?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love it.
Just one quick example. So the trick is, a lot of times we talk to candidates. We talk to an amazing candidate. They're available, they're active, they're looking for work, and we don't have a rec for them. Okay. How do we monetize that call we just had? So here's a call. I just had a call with a Java developer, captured all these amazing, talked about all these amazing technologies and skills, asked them all these great questions. And with the click of a button, I can create a link in whatever brand I want. My RPO accounts, but I'm going to hide the candidate's information. I'm going to hide their name. I'm going to hide their photo. I'm going to pick just a couple of highlights from the call, hide their resume and LinkedIn URL, and create in 10 seconds a link that I can send to 7 prospective hiring managers. This is that MPC we talked about last week, but it's like, what's different than forwarding a resume or sharing my BS opinion is that I'm sharing a couple insights from my call I had. I'm showing I really did talk to the candidate. I really did perform a great, thorough phone screen, and I'm sharing evidence instead of my opinion. And that client is going to see something they've never seen from a recruiter, and they're going to go, not only does this Java engineer sound great, I'd love to talk to him, but let's talk about the other 5 recs I have open, because you obviously do things different.
Can I piggyback off of that with Nick real quick? So one thing I love about this Hone It software, and again, this is going to become a great shout out to Hone It today, but I have to say, like, our clients absolutely love this. And so this is where one of the differentiators that can help you with business development is you're showing a real live human being that is actually intelligently answering questions. And when the clients see this on the other side, they actually refer business to us. So this is one way we get business too, is by referrals. And when you do a good product, good service, Hone It helps us do that. So I want to say that also helps with biz dev.
Okay, let me say something first of all. Am I on drugs? I mean, I tried to do an ad for Hone It, and he said, "Oh no, I'm not here to do an ad. Hijack your show."
You did great.
He takes an opportunity to do a webinar. Now, I don't mind, because I find this pretty interesting. Okay.
That's funny.
So, Nick, you've got a free hand here. You're an old friend as well and sponsor. But Mike Rasmussen, are you also doing MPC, best candidate, like most placeable candidate marketing? Is that how are you talking about this?
No, we don't actually do this with ours, but what we actually reference this when we talk to our clients in business development. So we can show them an
Okay, so
example.
when you're showing,
But
when you're showing,
Mike will show the photo, show the name, show the resume. He won't make it a blind candidate presentation, but he'll actually share the resume and all the data.
but he's inside. He's inside. I mean, he's not like an external recruiter.
So our clients actually sometimes actually do our selling for us when they see this in action. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
hold on, I got a Rich Rosen is here, and Tom,
Hey.
Tom, who's a mouthy guy in a good way. I want to hear their feedback before I forget. Rich Rosen, we were talking about MPC marketing. What do you think about what Nick just showed us? Because we talked about blind resumes as well. Okay, be frank. He came here to get punched out if that's what you want to do. Okay.
I've talked to Nick before. I just hopped on late, so I didn't see what he was showing.
I'll tell you what he did. He says you talk to the candidate on Hone It. Okay, you record the conversation. You've got some clips. So then when you correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. So after you make your call to
Mike, it's just hard to explain, isn't it? It doesn't sound right.
Why don't you just show it again?
No, I don't think it's hard to explain.
Finish. I'm begging.
Go to the screen again. There, Rich. This is the screen that he sends to a client.
You talk to a great Java developer, salesperson, finance person, whoever. You have a really great conversation, right? After that phone call or video call, you have all of this great data for your records, and then in the click of a button, you can create a share link, but remove the candidate name, photo, resume, pre-II, and share this link as prospective, business development candidate marketing. Say, I just spoke with an amazing Java engineer in your town. Any interest? You like what you hear? I'm not selling. I'm not pitching. I'm just saying, invest 2 minutes to hear a couple of highlights from my call I just had.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you don't have to do a whole lot of legwork to remove this, that, and the other thing, and you've already talked to them, I think it sounds great. I'll try it for a demo.
Now, the other side of it, though,
A free demo.
the other side of it, Tom, you talked about how important that intake call is, right? That's the other call recruiters have all day, every day to extract information about a job. Well, question, if you're talking to a hiring manager or a candidate or a hiring manager on Zoom or Hangouts or the telephone, I would ask you what the output of that call is. Okay? Our conversations
What do you mean by
are what
output?
matter. Now, in Hone It, if I talk to Brett, the hiring manager, I asked him really great questions about a job. I learned all these things. And now I have all of that captured. And with the click of a button, I can create a job preview link, hide the hiring manager's name and photo, include the job description, and in 10 seconds, create a job preview. This is a link that I can share with candidates to say, I really have a relationship with the client. It's a real rec. And wouldn't you want to work for this hiring manager? Listen to 2 minutes of these highlights.
It's almost like you guys are like, well, Hinterview really copied you, but you're like Hinterview without the video.
We do phone, video, VoIP, SMS.
Video.
It's a communication stack for talent transformation. It does all types of talking. We just think
I guess my
conversations
biggest
matter.
problem with any of these is that when I don't have a chance to overcome objections, right? Like I don't have a chance to overcome, I'm happy where I'm at. Not looking, we don't pay fees, we don't have any openings. Like, yeah, fine. You want to send these out and get some business development going that way because you can't call every single company.
No,
that
hold on a
hires
second.
Java
Wait a second.
developers.
Wait a second. When he's talking to the candidate, you have the opportunity. You just end up recording that kind of information, right?
Yeah, then you send it to a client. You still can follow up with a phone call afterwards. I would.
Yeah, you can.
No,
I
no,
mean,
but
like-
he
like-
says, Nick says you talk to the client before you send out this
Here's
stuff.
just
Am
the
I right?
difference. This is very subtle shift. When we email that hiring manager, we're giving before we're asking for anything. We're saying,
Yeah.
hey, this was my runner-up candidate. I'm going to cut the fee in half. Let me know if you like them.
Oh, slow
I
down on that
already-
one.
No.
Well,
I mean, really.
I'm just saying, you want to stand out and you want to get a hiring manager to read your
I'm not
email
standing
and
out for
put them
half a fee, but yeah, but I get your point.
I mean, you already did the work. This is the second, third, and fourth place candidate from a search you already did.
Yeah,
Why not
don't
monetize it?
Nick, don't push that part. The rest of it's
Okay,
great.
fair enough.
That's
So
really-
let's just put it this way. It's another tool in your tool belt to show your value add and how you do your work. And that's exactly what you want your client to see is what you're doing. So transparency is powerful. So I think it's just another tool.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, it sounds like a great MPC tool. Like, it doesn't need
I
to
would
be
agree.
your fourth candidate. It just needs to be, it's an outreach instead of just sending an email. It says, hey, I've got this guy who's done ABC here for yourself. It just makes you more valid than all the BS when recruiters call up some bullshit candidate. Now you're calling with showing a little bit more reality.
No,
Well, even
Now,
and
Mike-
even not
Mike-
even for NBC, even in your deliverables for your active recs,
So
you're
Mike,
actually
Mike,
showing the
how's your
client that
success been
you
with this?
performed a thorough phone screen and you're sharing insights from a phone screen, not a write-up an opinion about a phone
Yeah,
screen.
it's just
right?
it's a different approach. That's unique. I'll try it. I'd love to try it actually.
Well, Ernie wanted to say something. Ernie, give
No.
Ernie a chance.
Mike, how was your success? You use it. You're not the owner.
His kitchen's a diner now. Look like it must be fantastic.
Mike is not an external recruiter. He's in an
I'm an agent.
RPO. He's
I'm an
embedded
agency
in a company.
recruiter.
Yeah, but I mean, you use it. You've used the product, right?
I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not for these purposes. Okay, but I have an objection. I was listening to Rich Rosen this week, talk to some English guy, and he said, these people are telling you to schedule a 1-hour intake session. Screw that. I'm not going to do that. I got ADHD. I have a short little conversation and that's it. That's all I need. Okay. You're not going to spend an hour on the phone taping a call.
But why not capture the 5-minute call? There's insights in that call. Like why? I mean,
So
I get everything I need.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is
He-
5 minutes is a
you-
4-page transcript.
You
can
can
remember
use
it.
Hone It to share the job with your candidate and vice versa. So it's a tool that can be used. It's just how you use it in your workflow. It's a key to the factor.
Okay, but what I like it addressed this blind resume. I posted on LinkedIn this week about the blind resumes and how Rich said they are stupid. They are useless. This takes care of that problem, right?
Yeah.
Solves the problem.
I think
right
so.
there.
I think I think that's valid.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
if you're going to send a write-up about someone, now you're going to send a write-up with audio, unless you really went to depth to create a fake candidate. God bless you. I mean, it seems like
Yeah,
it'd be a much more
exactly.
believable.
Yeah,
way to
I mean, that's
Yeah,
Rich makes a
he's-
good point.
Rich
It's
is
much more
good-
believable
is totally
than
right.
yeah,
NPC
that's
call.
it's
Trust,
important. Yeah.
man.
that's
How
right.
can recruiters restore trust?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can restore trust
Great
in
point.
your day-to-day with candidates and clients, you win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I think
That's
it's all
the-
about transparency, right? I think
Yeah.
sometimes what happens is we lose the transparency of our process and how it flows. And sometimes, folks look at recruiters like used car salesmen. So you have to kind of rise above the fray and be different. You have to kind of show them how your process
Okay,
is
but
different.
you know what? In terms of trustworthiness, I've always been concerned with Hone It. You got to get the candidate who doesn't know you, presumably, to let you record his or her conversation. That's kind of scary.
I'll tell you how I deal with that. So I actually will tell the candidate up front, hey, we have a text software, it's called Hone It, and it helps us with the conversation. And it's something that you're representing yourself to my client. And many times when I say that, the candidate's like, oh, that's great. I like that. I like that I'm the one that's representing myself. It's not you, a third party, kind of trying to represent me. So I think that's the value there.
That's
Right,
great,
and
Mike.
The person
when
doesn't say-
when you tell any candidate you're going to record them at the beginning, I've never had anybody say, please don't.
I mean, you could just
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah,
I have no
it's a
objections
business
when it happens.
conversation. I mean, we've got to follow best practices
Yeah.
of all the other departments in our companies that are support has been recording calls for 40 years for quality control
That's a
training,
great point, Nick.
better experience. Sales have been recording
Yeah.
sales conversations to figure out what works and what doesn't and to share those.
All you have,
Why is HR so scared and recruiters are scared? Candidates
It's
don't
different
care.
from me calling Bell
Recruiters are
Canada and saying, hey,
scared.
my phone's not working properly. Okay. There's
no,
a
all
difference.
you, all you,
scared
all you have
about
to say,
recording
all you
their
have to
calls.
say is, look, I
not
want to
kidding.
talk to you. I don't want to be taking notes, a lot of notes while I'm talking to you, and it helps me. Is that
I don't want you to
I
have
just-
to repeat the same conversation 4 more times. We
Yeah.
wonder why there's a terrible interview experience that takes 2 months and 8 separate interviews. Is because we're not sharing data, we're sharing opinions, at the end of the day.
Well,
Yeah.
transparency to me is the big thing. Like if you're transparent with your candidate, half the time they're going to be transparent with you. That's just the way it goes.
half the time?
If you're human, to go back to our good friend Katrina Collier, who always says, be human. And if you're human, you're going to be okay.
It's a Collier.
I got
My
a
biggest
jump,
concern
Collier.
would
I
be
got a demo. Thanks, Mike.
Oh,
Thank
see you
you.
later.
guys.
Hey,
Take care.
I was going to give you more chance to promote. You did a good job. Thank you very much.
All right, send us a free demo, free trial.
Oh,
My
got
biggest concern is I ask stuff that you're not allowed to ask, and I don't want that recorded. I asked a lot of things that you're not supposed to ask when I'm talking to candidates or clients that I don't want recorded. So that's going to be a concern for me. And I don't want to
Yeah,
share
but
that.
do you really? I mean, do you really worry about that? Like, I mean, are they really going to get audited or?
I don't worry about it. I don't want to record it.
No, but I mean, one, I
Then
think
you
you can
don't-
turn
but
it
then
off.
you don't- but then you
You
don't
can turn it
record
off and on, and I think for the main piece of the pie, it's pretty great. If you can chop it up.
I'd be interested to see how they pull stuff out, because it says it looks like it pulls it out immediately once you're done talking. Like you have your interview and then it grabs, this is what the job's about. This is what makes the candidate wonderful. This is, and the little snippets, it seems like it pulls it out itself. That's kind of neat.
Yeah,
How much is it, Mike? Do you know?
$45 a month. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Okay.
And then you get a 14-day free trial. So
Also, Nick's a nice guy. I assume the customer service reflects that. Maybe I can't swear by
we'll
it.
call him out on the show if he's not.
Before I forget, while we're talking about technology, I saw that Tom is experimenting with Source Whale and Uptick. Do you want to talk about those two things?
Uptick's more than Source Whale. I've done the Source Whale demo. The thing that I jumped into this for was the email views. Right?
What is Uptick? I don't know what Uptick is, although I think
Uptick's
Mario
it's a
also
C-
uses
it's
it.
like a
I
CRM.
told everyone about it earlier. Yeah, it's just another outreach tool, but it can do some unique things.
Yeah. The thing that I wanted was with Loxo, it shows me that they opened the email one time and one time only. With Upticks, you can see if your prospect or your candidate, whoever, opened the email several times, viewed the email. They viewed it, they opened it, then they viewed it again 3 hours later, 4 hours later, 7 hours later, 2 days later. And to me, if you're doing a campaign, let's say you're sending out, emails to 300 candidates going, I'm wonderful and great and got a position in San Francisco. Do you want to make a job change? Then you can look at the report and see that of those 300 emails, 75 candidates looked at your email more than one time, right? They looked at your email 17 times or whatever it is. Those are the ones I'm going to call versus trying to call all 300.
Rich and I had an argument about
So
that.
you're talking about one email being looked at multiple times rather than 2 or 3 in your campaign.
Correct. Yeah, they look at one email 7 times
Okay.
over a period of 3 days or whatever that is. You can look at every single time they looked at your email. Like I did some tests on myself, and it showed that I looked at this one email, 17 times over a period of 5 days at what hour and time I did it. It was kind of neat. It was scary, Big Brother wise, but it was kind of neat just for reporting in terms of like, okay, I sent 300 emails. I can't call all 300 people, but these 75 people looked at my email several times. Maybe they clicked my calendar link a couple times.
That helps you select. Yeah, helps you prioritize your calls. Mike, have you ever used that? Mike Rasmussen?
Which one? The Loxo?
Uptick.
No, the
Uptick. No, I
any
have
type of email. Do you guys use any email tracking systems that shows a
Yeah,
candidate
there's a
or
million
a
of them.
client
I
opens
use-
their emails more than once?
There's Outplay, Interstellar, Uptick, Source Whale. There's countless. Snovio.
I use
they're great.
Banana Tag.
What?
Banana tag.
That's an old one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
the
were
old one.
having
It still works. I like it.
because they were having email deliverability issues a while back, like a couple of years ago. That's why.
What I don't like about Uptick
It's
is they don't
working.
have
It
their own
seems to be
server.
working.
Which one?
You have to send to your own.
Banana
Uptick
Tag
does not
Tag's
have
still
their own
working
server.
fairly well.
That's a problem.
I couldn't hear you, Tom. What would you say about Upticks?
Uptick does not have its own server. That's a problem. They send through your server. So like
Yeah.
with Interstellar, it's their server, and your email address, it looks like it comes from you, but it goes to their server, just like Loxo has their own server. Uptick goes through your server, so that scares me a little bit on deliverability and spam.
I got to tell you, so I've tried them all. Like I talked to Pat at Upticks. So I think what they're doing is pretty cool. I did Source Whale. Theirs is pretty neat if you want to live in LinkedIn. I use Outplay just because I'm cheap, and it was $50 on AppSumo.
AppSumo.
Yeah, and it works great. But they have. I literally get 100% deliverability.
What's it
with
called?
those guys, and it all goes through my server also. I'm pretty sure Outplay does, because like Crelite goes through my server too. If it's individual emails, bulk email goes through Mailgun.
Outplay, Tom, he said.
Yeah,
Outplay.
Loxo goes to Mailgun too, but you can choose you can send one email. Like if you go into Alascio, and you can choose if you want to send it through Mailgun or through your own server. And it always looks like it comes through you, though. That's what.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They always look like it comes from you, and the end of the day is it all comes down to deliverability. And if you've got it, you got to have all your records set up, your DKIM and your CNAME stuff set with these guys. And
I got all that set. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about I'm worried about, am I going to get logged as a spammer if I use my own server? That's my only concern.
As long as you don't send 500 emails a day. I mean, you send 200 plus a day out of these programs, and you're fine.
So if you get logged as a spammer, are you a spammer to everybody or just that one person?
Everybody. You get put on the blacklist.
You can get blacklisted. There's a bunch of stuff you can do.
You got to go to mxtoolbox.com to check out your status often, because it's a bitch if you get on those lists. It can be.
Yeah, I got Gmail was kicking my emails back, and it was something simple. I just contacted Loxo, and GoDaddy, and they fixed the DNS records for me, and everything worked again. So.
Yeah.
Mike Rasmussen, the guest, what are you using for a contact info finder? Is that the banana thing or is that something else?
Contact Out. Loxo has some finding tools. I use Hire Easy. I also use email permutators, if you know what those are. That's where you can see what the company, kind of permutation is. There's little tools that do that for you. So those are some of the tools I use.
Okay, but who pays for them? Your what's it called? Recruitandsource.com?
Yeah, Source and Recruit does help me with some of those. Yeah.
Sourceandrecruit.com?
Yep.
Sourceandrecruit.com?
Yeah, that's my company.
Sourceandrecruit.com. I'm on their website right now.
Okay, well, that's a great. It's great. You don't hear me saying the URLs are great at that often, but that is terrific. Okay,
that is a good.
Although I wasn't sure, but I now remember I wasn't sure which came first. But hold on a second. Hire Easy is very expensive. Are they paying for that?
It's actually not that bad. It's only
$160.
It's $169 a month. It's not bad.
Okay, I thought it was
really
way
good.
Way more.
No, it's great.
Those the expensive one.
It's also very niche sensitive. It depends what you're recruiting for, right? Whether it's going to return the people or not. Okay, so let me see. Oh, what? Geez. If I don't say what's on my mind immediately, I forget it. Okay. What about email sequencing tools? Rich is very big on that.
That's what those are. That's what all those
permutations.
That's what Uptick is and all that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out Uptick, you guys. That sounds really awesome.
Well, the cool thing about Uptick is you can put multiple email addresses in, so it will rotate through your emails, and then also you can put you can change your email itself, so it rotates through the wording of your email. So it really helps with avoiding spam.
The Spintax thing is really
the Spintax is great. So like you can have it send an email to Tom through your .com email, an email to Mike through your .co email, an email to Ernie through your .net email. And each email will say, it may say hello to Tom and hi to Bill and hi and what's up to Mark.
How you doing? Exactly. Yeah. The Spintax is pretty wild to keep you out of spam.
Yeah.
You said you're using Loxo as your applicant tracking system, Mike. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we love it.
Hey Tom, I got Upticks to tie into Crelate. Did he tie it into Luxo yet?
Yeah, in fact, the drop down, like when I go to do a campaign and it says you want to add people, you click on the Luxo link and whatever job, you grab every single person that job goes right into the outreach campaign. That was pretty cool. I was impressed by that. That kind of blew me away. The only problem is it grabs every job I've ever made in the last 7 years. So all my inactive jobs pop up, which is a pain.
Yeah, they were supposed to.
It's a little slow.
They were supposed to fix some of that. Because I haven't checked in a little bit, but Upticks is a great program. I mean, Outplay I've had no problems with, and the support's been dynamite also. But it's it's pretty standard. Actually, it does a lot of stuff. Outplay, it can do call drops, you can do emails, it does all the tagging, you can set up triggers. So if someone does look at your email 5 times, it automatically alerts you, kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
They put ChatGPT now in their Cold to Gold program. So it will write the emails for you. It'll shorten it. It'll lengthen it. It'll take out me words. It'll make power words. It'll do a lot of things that my dumb ass can't do. So
you're totally right about that, Tom.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, ChatGPT for getting help with crafting and outreach is amazing. There's so many good things you can do. I mean, dang. But here's the trick, you guys. You got to make sure that you personalize it and set it up so it doesn't sound like it's, you want to tailor it.
You gotta set them up. Tell them you're act like an expert, talk like Ryan Reynolds, do like stuff like that. I had to do one, and I mean the response.
Talk like
it's
Ryan
crazy.
Reynolds. I didn't even think to ask it that. That's a great idea.
How does he talk?
Well, he's he's a nice Canadian.
The sarcasm, the jovialness
Yeah, hold on.
to
Could
it.
Ernie and I say talk like Rich Rosen?
You could.
Yeah. How do they
So,
know
If
how
I knew
you
who
talk?
Rich Rosen was.
So, you know
I
what?
tried it. Didn't work very well.
What really creates the Canadian look is that fur hat.
Exactly.
It really does make
And the
look.
summer background. It's the fur
I
hat
know,
and the
it's
summer
the su-
background.
Yes. There's
Well, it
two.
looks
You
like
know, there's
tundra
two
back there.
seasons. Two
But
seasons
hold
in
on,
Canada.
are you guys
There's winters
too
here and
young to
winters coming.
remember Bob and Doug McKenzie?
Yeah.
You guys, okay, fine. So now
Cold
you know.
Brew. Love that movie. Cold
Yeah.
Brew.
So Michael,
Long time ago.
you're in Toronto.
Yeah,
What's the weather
Poser?
like out
Yeah,
there?
Poser?
Toronto, yes, I'm in Toronto. Yeah, and I know you did Canadian recruiting. It's on your LinkedIn, and
I
that
did.
reminds me. What about LinkedIn automation tools? Are you using any Mike Rasmussen?
No,
You don't want to talk about those online.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to get our automation people in trouble. Again, I use
Well,
one. And
actually,
I love
you
it.
know what? I was wondering, should I be cutting out what you said about asking illegal questions?
No, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. What are you gonna give you? Blood from a rock? Go
No
ahead.
one's going to
I don't
watch it.
care.
I mean, I got to tell you something. I edited down our conversation
Oh.
on contact information finders last week. It's a beautiful 2 minutes. I posted it on LinkedIn. Nobody watches. It's terrific. I thought
I
it
think
was
people
terrific.
watch it more than you think, is my guess.
Yeah, I looked. Okay, you're wrong.
I
But
don't know.
Ernie starts off saying, he says, Rich, is Zoom info worth it? No way. Okay, that's as clear an answer as you're ever going to get. Then they go through a whole bunch of stuff in 2 minutes time. And Mario, and it still didn't get a ton of
But that
views.
just goes to show that a lot of recruiters don't really listen. They don't.
I
just
think they listen to other people and
No,
maybe just not the
they-
recruiting animal. Okay,
Yeah.
but okay, hold on a second. I've got Tom. Yeah, chat. I was thinking of you. You need Chat GPT. I know you always brag that you barely made it out of high school.
Yeah, I
But
use it
it's-
all the time.
Third grade.
It's tenant, not tenant. Okay, the guy writes great, long, very informative comments, but he says
I even
my
Googled that
basic
word and I still
tenant.
spelled it
It's
wrong.
not your tenant, it's your tenant. Okay, and also if Chat GPT takes over, are people going to stop saying loose in place of lose? I'm so sick
hope
of
so.
LOOSING. It's not loosing. Okay, it's losing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one of my pet peeves
For
for
your,
years.
and there.
Do you talk to the TV and correct it as you're going along?
No, I just get angry, okay? I don't talk to it. Mike Rasmussen, though, he says something. Remember, we discussed at length about helping hiring managers with their interviews. And I remember, I don't remember everybody's, okay. Mario said, don't poke the bear. And Rich said, no, you're just going to insult these guys if you start telling them what questions to ask and you're assuming you're acting like they don't know what they're doing. But Mike
Wait.
Rasmussen,
I never said you're going to insult those. You should.
I can play
let's
everything
hear
back
it.
now,
Let's
okay?
hear it.
That would mean that Rich was sensitive.
Yeah, that's so not my game.
Okay. He
I'm
says don't
recorded.
do it.
Yeah.
Are you going to say, Rich, you didn't say don't advise these guys, okay? That's what you said. Don't tell them how to do their interviews. It's not going to work, okay?
The
That's what
hiring
you said.
managers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said you can't. You can tell them they're not going to. Some will listen, some will not. You can give them advice on where to go, but they don't want. Most of them don't want to be coached in terms of what. Ask this question, ask that question. Hell, half of these guys don't want to tell us the questions they're going to ask these guys because they're worried about us over prepping the candidate.
That's different, okay?
No,
I don't
we're
over
talking
prep. I
about,
never over prep,
Yes,
but I do ask bad questions.
exactly.
okay, we're talking about guys who don't know how to conduct an interview. So you send in your candidate and they don't appreciate the candidate because they don't do a good interview. Mike Rasmussen and everybody on the show that day said, no, we can't coach these guys. Mike Rasmussen says we help hiring managers improve their interviews, make objective hiring decisions, and manage hires for long-term retention. Okay, so Mike Rasmussen, have you ever helped a hiring manager know what to ask or how to conduct an interview?
Yeah, I mean, here's what happens. And I think it goes back to your intake meeting. When you're in your intake meeting and you're talking to your manager, I think, many times the opportunity is going to come up where you can consult with them. They'll ask you, hey, what questions do you ask? And that's where the door opens and you can.
Hold on, you ask them or they come and say, hey, recruiter.
They ask me. They ask me.
Why? They don't ask Rich. They don't ask me. Okay.
I've had it happen. They ask me.
How often?
It happens every now and then. I mean, it's not all the time.
Every now and then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Cat comes
I'm not
out of the
saying
bag on LinkedIn.
No.
It sounds like you're helping everybody. Okay, that's not true. Go ahead.
Well, seriously, I think we need to, sometimes managers are going to open that door and you need to be ready with some good questions for them. And you just say, hey, I've tried this before. This is a question I've asked and it's worked. And this gets the candidate talking more. So, the big key is you want to help your manager understand that the more open-ended questions they ask, the more information they're going to get. And that's generally how I guide them.
That's pretty, it's pretty
Open-ended
loose.
questions. It is loose because it has to be loose for the candidate to give you information. And the more open-ended questions you've got, the better. And most hiring managers like to understand how to do that. And so if they're asking how to ask an open-ended question, you give them a couple of examples of
If they're asking,
questions.
that's one thing, but very
Right,
few
exactly.
of them
That's
are
what I'm saying.
asking you, yeah.
Well, that was the secret, okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't go in and say, look, he doesn't go in like maybe we should and say, look, you dummy, I know you're not going to know how to ask. I busted my ass getting these candidates. I don't want you screwing it up. I'm going to tell you how to conduct an interview, just in case you don't know.
Well,
you're busy being an engineer or whatever it is you do.
I think it's how you ask them too. Like if you ask your hiring manager and say, what typical questions do you ask your candidates when you're in an interview? They're going to tell you. And then
Tom says they won't tell you. They're afraid.
I'm serious though. If you ask them what they're asking.
Yeah, most are not. Most will not. Some will.
Most won't. But when you do ask a question of them and say, what are you asking your candidates? It does open the dialogue. So what I've found is when the dialogue starts to get going, your hiring manager will start thinking about it. So the key is to ask enough questions for them to get there safely so they feel comfortable.
The level
that's the way I do it.
The level that you get back in the response will depend on your relationship with that particular.
That's a great point. See, that's a very good point there. Yeah, I agree with that.
I always assume no relationship. Okay, it's not like everybody's your longtime buddy. Okay.
No, but I mean,
I have a question.
There's some people that are really close to you, and that you can tell, and they'll tell you.
Just like that guy who was so close to Rich for 20 years, and then wanted him to knock $5,000 off the fee. Okay.
And Rich did it too. Look at him.
No, he didn't. He said, no way. I said, what kind of friend is going to ask me to give up $5,000? That company could afford it.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Oh, I got a question. Have you ever heard of that psych test experiment where they make these students watch a film of a basketball game, and then at the end they say, "Did you see the gorilla cross the basketball court while the game was going on?" And no one knows it's the gorilla. I've never seen it. I have a hard time believing it's true, but I just noticed at the top of Mike's screen it says source and recruit company. And I had trouble remembering his URL. It's right there in front of me. Has that been there the whole time, or did you put it up after?
I just threw it up there because
thank goodness.
Yeah.
I worry about my mind sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, I threw it up
Rich
there
Rosen made an announcement this week that kind of threw me. Okay.
What did I announce?
He said he's switching from G Suite to
Microsoft
365 Office. I use G Suite. What's up?
Tom and I were talking about this. I was just getting this lag was getting horrible. It was just
what lag? What lag? Where does it show up?
It doesn't show. It just, you type a letter and then it's like, waiting for you to understand the question. It just takes time. It just took too long to type. Everything was
for what were you doing?
There's some extent in Gmail, only in Gmail. There was some extension causing some issue in Gmail that would just cause this lag, and I can't figure it out. So unfortunately, I went through this. I'm still in the midst of this hellacious switched back to Office 365. And
It's hard to switch. It's hard to
it's
port
a
them.
fucking nightmare, to be blunt. It's literally, I've lost 2 days worth of work with tech support issues.
But the couple things I did for you, but didn't it work out no problem?
I ended up switching from Microsoft to GoDaddy to go reset everything up, and they still are having issues.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and the funny thing is now Microsoft support's been on me like white on rice. They literally call every day, but I'm like, I just switched to GoDaddy, so you got to use GoDaddy support. But GoDaddy guys, they've been great, except they don't set up DKIM records. I had to show them how to do that because they didn't know how to do it, and then they don't do DMARC, and then they still haven't figured out my transfer yet. So all my emails are still sitting in Google. I've got to still work back and forth.
Sounds terrible. Okay.
It is terrible. I don't recommend it for anyone. It's horrible.
Okay, I think you made a mistake. You could probably fix your G Suite problem.
I trust me. I've tried for years, and it just got too bad.
So I understand your frustrations, and when I went and switched from G Suite to 365, you get GoDaddy, you get Loxo or Crelate involved. It works out. I mean, when you're done though, dude, it's seamless now. It's absolutely seamless.
I mean, Google was seamless too. Once you get them working, they're all fine. It's just like before, like even this still already happened. Like I switched from Office years ago to G Suite. I got everything Microsoft, and LinkedIn was the only Microsoft thing I had left, quite frankly. And but Outlook, the reason I got off of Outlook originally was it kept forgetting my passwords. I don't know why. I even use a password manager. Even now, like trying to set this stuff up the other day with GoDaddy, passwords keep disappearing. Like,
don't you you use a Mac, sync your Mac with your phone and use your iCloud password.
Yeah, I have it tied to that. I have it tied to a password manager. I have them written down. All right.
Okay, I have another question about this before I forget.
It makes no sense.
Mike Rasmussen, just interrupt me if you feel I'm neglecting you. You're one of the guys now, okay? But I have a special question to you. But Tom, I remember I was praising Tom, even though not his spelling. Okay, and he always praises. He says, "I have no education. I'm making more money than you are." Okay, so that's I appreciate that. But he also says, and this shocked me. Okay, he says Microsoft Edge is much better than Chrome, and you can use all of your Chrome extensions on it. Now, I know you're using a Mac. Does it make a difference? What?
No.
Chromium.
What you want is a Chromium-based browser. So Edge and Brave are both Chromium-based. I'm actually using Brave right now. I'm not even on Edge right now. I tried Brave out just for the privacy issues, and dude, it's no different than Chrome. Other than it's not a memory hog. Now, people tell me on PCs, Chrome's not as much of a memory hog, but on Mac, it's a fucking
on Mac, it's a nightmare. But that's the thing. Yeah. I've been using Edge since I switched over to Office 365. And actually, that's what kind of got me to switch over to 365, I should say. And Edge is so much faster. It's so much easier on the computer itself. It's honestly terrific.
Hey, Tom, is Luxo, the icon, work on Edge?
Yep, it works on Edge. Yep, it works. There is literally no difference. Every single
it goes faster. That's about
it. You have to use Chrome. You can use Edge, or you can use Brave. Now with Brave, you have to uncheck some stuff. There's a thing called shields are up. You want to turn the shields off when you're using some of this stuff. But other than that, it's exactly the same. Edge doesn't have that. There is one setting in Edge, and you might want to check, Mike, that makes it a memory hog. And once you turn that one setting off, Edge works great.
You also use Orion. Am I right about that?
Orion. I tried Orion. Orion, you need to be a little more techie because you have to give it a lot of different permissions for the extensions to work. So if you're not techie, don't mess with Orion. But Orion,
Mike Rasmussen wants to comment on that.
Right.
Go ahead,
Mike. I will tell you. If you ever have a problem, just call Tom. I've done that many times.
Really?
Wow. Oh yeah. Yeah, he'll walk me through stuff, and we'll share stuff, and we'll go back and forth.
I'm using both Edge and Chrome primarily. It just depends on which one is wanting to be cooperative that day. But I find that actually Chrome is working better for me. I mean, overall, I use just a I use a ThinkPad, so it's pretty good. I mean, I like it. I like Chrome.
Okay, so it might be different
my
though, whether you're
purpose.
on a Mac or a PC.
I would
Okay,
agree
that's
with
what-
that. I had a Mac last year, and Edge was bad on Chrome. Or sorry, on the. It was
On
bad
the
on
Mac.
the
These
Mac.
guys are raving about it. Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
That's-
now
I didn't like it. I didn't
Better.
like Edge.
Now, how long
on the
ago?
Mac.
How long ago was that you had Edge on the Mac? Because when
It was-
Edge was not Chromium, and then they were
Yeah.
having issues. And then when they
It was
It was
like a
last
year
year.
ago
and
they
everything.
switched.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, I mean, you may have just
Okay.
gone up before they switched over because now
Yeah,
it's
could be.
it's night and day better.
Oh, that's
You know,
good to hear.
And then it depends if you had the old chip versus the new M1 or M2 chips.
Yeah,
You're-
good point.
You know.
Yep.
So,
You still got the Mac Mini, or did you buy something new?
no, mine's still a mini M1. I was thinking that was going to be
Mini
my answer,
M1
I was
is
going to
awesome.
change, but I mean, honestly, now that I'm on Edge, and unfortunately I'm on 365, it works fantastic. No issue.
I have to tell you though, I loved my Mac.
Yeah, they're so easy. You know.
Okay, Mike Rasmussen, is there something special you'd like to talk about?
You know, I just want to give a shout out to all those recruiters out there that have been laid off. I mean,
Okay, you've got a Facebook group for them, don't you?
we do.
Tell about it. Tell us about
So
it.
we got a place called Free Resume Review that people can go and get some help with resumes from fellow recruiters. So that's a place that we can definitely give you some help. That's actually that Facebook group was started by Mike Wolford. I'm an admin there. Garrick Chan's an admin.
Gary
Miller. Some of our good friends.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I just want to say, you know, if you're a laid off recruiter, go there because we want to help you out. And that's, you know,
What's the name again?
Free Resume Review.
Okay, and you've also got a show, don't you, where you handle, or was that just a webinar you did for?
We did a webinar just recently, just the other day, and that's a free webinar. If anyone wants it, the link, we can get it to you. Katrina
I-
Kibben, Glenn Gutmacher, myself, Greg Hawks, and Paul.
Okay, I got Tom
Paul
on the.
out
Oh,
in
this is
Minnesota
beautiful.
was on it.
This is beautiful. This is a classic recruiting animal show. Tom said, if you're a recruiter,
God.
you can't find yourself a job. You don't have a right to call yourself a recruiter. Isn't
And
that
I will
what you
die
said?
on that hill. I will die on that hill that if you are a recruiter and you think you're a great recruiter and then you get fired and can't find yourself a job and you're complaining because you can't find a job, what kind of fucking recruiter are you?
Kind of
Go ahead,
agree.
Mike.
I'm just
I think
saying the reason we did it is we know that, you know, when you're laid off, it can be hard to get yourself back on track.
I don't agree with that, by the way. Okay, I think he's way too harsh. Okay, there's thousands of recruiters being laid off. There's thousands of them,
Well,
right?
They're not
But it-
recruiters.
He's
They're
right
not
to some
recruiters.
degree.
They're
I mean,
talent-
he's
they're
right
talent
on.
acquisition people.
I think he's right in that, you know, you need to be able to, you have the skills to find yourself a role, and you can basically flip the talent acquisition script and go out and find yourself stuff. I think what happens is there are some of the newbies that don't always realize that. Some baby recruiters may not realize that.
You
but
can't find jobs when they're not there. Okay, no matter how good of a talent detective you are, the jobs aren't there. They just unloaded all these new people they hired in the last 18 months. Am I
It's
right
been a-
about that?
Totally. I think we're kind of in a very unprecedented market right now. It's definitely,
Well,
and look at COVID. I mean, it's been absolutely insane these last 3 years. So
but
to
it's
say
because-
it's just been a wacky
There are
market.
many different recruiters, or recruiters is like a general name that everybody calls themselves. I mean, an internal recruiter who has no experience is a recruiter. A person that has 20, 30 years is a recruiter. There are 365 recruiters. There are recruiters who only done
But you've
internal
never
for a small
developed
company.
business.
But they all call themselves recruiters,
Doesn't
and they
make
say,
you a
"Well, I can't
recruiter."
find a job." Well, if you know, and I think the three of us, I think Tom and Rich and I kind of agree that if you are a 365 recruiter and you work for yourself, you don't need to find a job.
Every day you're
Other-
looking for a job. as a
Every-
recruiter.
Yeah.
yeah, and these guys are just saying, "Just put up your shingle, get it going." And y'all are looking for people. Find me a company, please. Find me a company. And
There was a quote that I read. It's like if you complain to three people about your problem, you're not looking for advice, you're looking for attention. And that's what a
Yeah,
lot of
I don't
people
agree. Okay, I don't agree with those pat maxims. Okay.
Well, now I've gone to the dark side. I'm on the agency side now after
See?
being
No,
10,
no, wait,
10
before
years.
I forget,
of a corporate
I want to
recruiter.
address what
I'm just kidding, guys.
I want to address what
It
Ernie
is the dark
said.
side, it's all
Okay,
right.
you're not in an
I was
agency, you're in
joking.
an
I had to make a
RPO.
joke.
You're in an RPO. That's different. I want to
Yeah,
address
that's
what
true.
Ernie said. Okay, because in your LinkedIn page, you said this is a fantastic article. So I went over there because I knew you're going to be on the show. I said I got to read it. And the guy says, why are all these recruiters being laid off? He said they should be calling themselves, listen to this, Ernie, strategic talent integration and development.
It's
Oh, you're talking
the
about the
corporate-
article I quoted? That was a good article. You know,
Yeah,
there were a lot of good points in it. Okay, and there were some things I liked. But yeah, I think it's funny you called that specifically out. I think some of the points that he made were about just what had happened. I think he did a good job of highlighting the environment and what had happened and why folks had been laid off. I think that was the point of the article mainly, but I liked that point.
I love that title, strategic talent.
But the title,
But
you're
that's
absolutely right, was
okay,
hilarious. I
can't
did have to
say
laugh
it.
about that.
I'll have to do it in another show. When I become desensitized. I guess final question. There was someone posted today. She said, "Look, a year and a half ago, there were lots of companies trying to get me to leave my current company." She's a corporate recruiter and go with them for more money. She said, "I could tell that this was post-COVID. It was some kind of high that people were on, and it was gonna crash eventually as well." And she says the companies knew that too. I don't believe they did, but did they know that they were hiring and that they were going to be laying those same people off in a year and a half, Mike?
I don't think so. I think they overhired. If you look at what happened, see, I'm going to give you an example. So I just had a conversation with a friend from Meta, and he basically said that they had overhired, and they were kind of going with that post-COVID craze, and then they just made a mistake. So that's what
These are
happened.
supposed to be smart people, okay?
That's what happened. They weren't going with the wave, and then they
had all this
overhired.
money. They had
a bunch of money. That's exactly right.
And you had to spend.
Great point, Rich.
You didn't spend, you lost it.
You're gonna ask yourself how many of these layoffs are caused by other people laying off. And
A lot of it was
that's the other
getting
thing.
nervous.
But don't you think a lot of this was
Yeah.
copycat?
It was
Elon Musk
copycat.
copycat.
I agree totally. I think it was a copycat scenario.
Yeah.
And they were hiring because the other companies were hiring, and then all of a sudden they laid off because the other companies were laying off.
But they're like, hey, listen. But
that was happening too.
Yeah, they also realized, hey, look, Elon Musk can fire 70% of his company. They didn't tank, so we could do the same. And you also realize that 80% of the people at your company are next to useless. They all do a very small amount of their job. Like, that's why they're all lazy. Like, my favorite stat was, like, I think Google fired like 30 massage therapists and like 100 private chefs or something stupid like that. I mean, but everyone got so fat and happy the last 2 years. These companies were spending and hiring left and right. They doubled, tripled their sizes, and we're talking like 50,000 hires.
Well, another point that's also very relevant was that when the Fed started to raise interest rates, all the free money was gone. Yeah. So when the free money got tighter and the spigot on the free money was gone, that's where all the struggles with the banks and everything else has come from. So they just turned off the spigot, and it's interesting.
There's a good podcast on the whole Silicon Valley Bank tank on Planet Money. A great podcast about all things money related, and they make boring topics actually very fun. They even did an insurance agreement, and actually made it interesting. But it's a quick.
I love podcasts like that. Yeah, because I don't have the attention span for those.
Yeah, that's the same. Tom, you and I are the same, Tom.
Well, yeah, kind of.
We are very similar.
You're a little smoother than him. Yeah. This guy's known for being unfiltered, but he's smoother than.
Hey,
it's the whole TL.
Up for there's another free, not free, but a really cheap email tracking that competes with Upticks on AppSumo right now. $49 lifetime, and you get $25,000, 25,000 emails. It's called ClickReach on AppSumo.
ClickReach. I went to Closely after Rich recommended Closely. It's off. It's gone now. So this one's quick. Go ahead. Sorry.
Click.
Yeah, but what does it do? What is it? An email tracker or is it an email finder?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's basically.
Was it finding emails, or is it finding your email address, verifying your email address, or actually getting your information?
Basically same as Upticks, when Upticks was like 3 years ago, right? So it doesn't have AI yet or anything. It's just basically you can do templates, you can do campaigns. There's a dashboard.
Okay, yeah.
1,000 emails.
Click reach.
Some of these things are great to buy for $50. You park them if they survive.
Well, I'm gonna try it out for $50. It's lifetime. 25,000 emails a month I can send.
Yeah.
Click reach. Click reach. Is that it?
Click reach on AppSumo. Yeah.
I'm
Give
gonna
it a
Just
do
be
it.
careful though. Even if it's on someone else's domain, somehow it finds your way to you and you become the spammer. So, because it's
I'm gonna do what you said. I own prsearchinc.info.
Yeah.
And they keep trying to get me to get prsearchinc.co as a deal.
Yeah.
I'll get all three of those and then rotate them through with Tom at those three.
And then you just have it forward to your main email. But it's
yeah.
That's what that. I mean, I have a bunch. It's great to just, but the AppSumo stuff, everyone should just go and park stuff. I mean, you get 2 months to try them out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you get your money back anyway. And
dude, this click reach looks just like Upticks.
Interesting.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, that was like Outplay. You know, it was the same thing. It was $50, and but I've got Snowy. I've got a bunch of them, and they work fantastic. So anyhow, it's worth the quick investment.
And like you said, for $9, and you get a refund if you don't like it. You have 2 months to try it out, and they send your money back.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike Rasmussen, this was a fun show. Thanks for coming on. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was a really fun
You
conversation.
need to come on next week too. It's very nice.
Source. I'm gonna
I like
source,
you guys.
There you go.
sourceandrecruit.com. He's the last guy that I would expect would like us. I have to tell you, he's coming from a corporate recruiting background, but he does. He comes
I've
back
made
all the
it.
time.
I'm on the other side of the fence.
Kind of.
I love
Source,
it.
Now he hates you.
sourceandrecruit.com, cornerstonesearch.com, prsearchinc.com. Is that it, Tommy? Okay. prsearchinc.com, foodindustryrecruiter.com. Hey, Rich, you didn't comment. Ernie's wearing black today.
Hey, he's not where he's. It's dark
why?
purple. Dark purple.
It had to do with the lights. I lowered the lights and I played with it.
By the
Something's
way,
wrong with your
I'm
light.
wearing a
Hold on,
sweatshirt
hold
that
on.
says
Okay.
"World's Okayest Recruiter" on it.
There you go.
Okay, you're an Amy guy.
I
Oh,
need
there
that
it is.
Is it really purple?
Lights.
Congratulations. He's
Seriously.
still in the cult. He's still in the cult.
There you go.
Bye,
Don't
everybody.
drink the
I have a lot
Kool-Aid.
of